What's up guys? In today's video I'm going to show you a full upper chest and triceps routine.
When I'm in the vibe, Holly doing donuts in the whip. Get all fabulous, I got my Zubby in the pic. Young boy spent a pretty penny on the kicks. Big bro said he blew a monkey on the wrist.
Now the goal of this session is to try and recruit as many upper pec muscle fibers as possible. The reason for that is because my upper chest, in comparison to my lower chest, is not as developed. It's nowhere near as developed. So there's no point in me doing chest exercises which are going to make the lower pec even bigger. I need to focus on the upper chest.
Guns go bang bang. Lifestyle gangland.
Now the first exercise I went into is the incline dumbbell press. This one, if you do it right, can really target the upper chest, but you have to do it right. Okay, most people who are doing this exercise should halve the weight that they're lifting, because more often than not, most people are just pressing with their front delt and they fail to actually get that contraction at the top of the movement with the upper pec. Now when I'm doing this exercise, my focus is to really concentrate on what my elbows are doing. So I'm trying to think of creating an arc with my elbows. I'm not pushing the weight out in front of me. I'm actually imagining that I'm dragging my elbow across my chest, okay? So I'm bringing it wide and then I'm bringing my elbow across and then trying to squeeze the upper chest. It's very important that you keep your shoulder back when you do this. So if you're going through this set and you notice it creeps forward, don't worry at the top, just readjust, pull the shoulders right back and then go back into the next set. The next exercise that I went into was the incline Smith machine press. Now I personally have a bit of an issue when it comes to barbell pressing, particularly with an incline. I do find it very, very hard to actually really squeeze my chest and feel my upper chest working. So what I do, or what I've done with this exercise, is I've made it very, very slow. I've changed the tempo, so I'm taking 3 seconds from top to bottom, but from the bottom to the top in the concentric phase of the movement as well, I'm also keeping it very slow. And my intention when pressing the weight up is to try and push my hands together as much as possible. So obviously my hands are not going to move because they're gripping onto the bar, but with that intention of trying to bring them together, particularly when I'm pressing, helps to recruit more of the upper chest fibers.
I ain't really got the time, what's the pattern? You won't really catch me raving cause I'm stacking. We do the most, we're doing lows. They say they do the road, all now ain't nothing happen. I can't lie, I got mad.
Now after the 2 chest exercises, I gave my chest a little bit of a break and I moved on to 2 tricep exercises. The first tricep exercise was a close grip press with the barbell, and I did this on a flat bench. A few things to bear in mind when doing this exercise: to try and keep your elbows in as much as possible. Don't let them flare at the bottom. A little bit of flaring is okay, but just don't do too much of it. And you want to try and keep your shoulders fixed in position and try to reduce any chest engagement that does occur. Hopefully it's a little bit fatigued from the previous exercises, so you're going to focus as much tension as possible onto the triceps. The next exercise which I moved on to was the double rope cable tricep extension. Now the reason why I've used 2 ropes is to maximize the range of motion. So because the rope is much longer, it allows me to really shorten the tricep, get it in its fully shortened position so I can squeeze it as much as possible and then bring it out up to the top. So it allows me to really bring the cables out either side of me. And what I've done is I've actually taken a step backwards and lowered the attachment, not at the highest setting, it's a little bit lower down, so that it actually gets to the point where it's at its hardest position lower down in the movement. Most people who do the tricep extension from the very top, they kind of overload the triceps at the top, where they should really, well, they shouldn't necessarily, but to change things up, you should overload the triceps in a different position from time to time. So where you stand and where the cable attachment is going to make a difference as to which part of the strength curve you're going to be working. Now with the next chest exercise, I wanted to mix it up. So instead of doing a pressing movement, I wanted to do some kind of a fly to really target the upper chest. Now the problem when it comes to doing dumbbell flies is I really struggle to get the tension on my upper chest, particularly in the top position, because gravity is acting directly down your arms. It's very easy to kind of relax within that position. So I want to use a cable. The advantages of the cables is that when you're in that top position, the cables are still kind of pulling your hands apart. So you are actively resisting the cables to keep yourself into that top position, which means you are able to contract and squeeze at the top. It's a hell of a lot easier. That's why I'm a big fan. I also like to use the bench because it keeps my torso stable. Then we moved on to another tricep exercise. This was the overhead dumbbell tricep extension. Be careful when you get the weight on top of you for this one, because you don't want to drop it on your head. So if you've got a training partner, get them to pass it up to you. And obviously when I've done this, I'm trying to keep my elbows fixed in position and my body locked. So I'm extending the dumbbell over my head, squeezing at the top and then lowering it down. After that exercise, we moved on to the cable crossover machine again. This time, instead of doing the cable flies, we're doing the cable press. So with this, I adjusted the incline of the bench ever so slightly, just so we could recruit some different fibers. And then the same principles apply. I'm really trying to squeeze as much as possible at the top of the movement. And as I bring the weights down, I'm keeping the cables above my elbows at all times. Okay, that's the key. Don't have your hands too far in, don't have them too far out, okay? And then the final exercise, this one's a bit of a bonus, not essential, but I like to add it on at the end of some chest workouts. I find it really does hit the spot with my upper chest. I do get a bit of front delt recruitment, but you know, that's not the end of the world. So when I'm doing this, I'm getting a barbell out in front of me, I'm holding it with both hands, and as I drive it forward, I'm trying to push my hands together as hard as I possibly can. I'm not completely trying to push as far out as possible, because it's more than likely all the tension will just move onto the shoulders. So I'm pulling my shoulders back, popping my chest out, and at all times, even on the way down, I'm trying to push my hands together as hard as possible. And that is really going to increase how much upper chest that I am working throughout the movement. So guys, that was the upper chest and triceps routine. If you want to see it in writing, it's in the description below. Please, please, please bear in mind that just because you do an upper chest focus exercise doesn't mean you're always going to target your upper chest. You really have to focus and concentrate on what you're doing. And most of the time you probably have to lower the weight, okay? It doesn't matter how many upper chest exercises you do. If you don't do that exercise properly and engage the working muscle or place tension on the working muscle, it's not going to grow, okay? So train smart and train hard as well. If you want to check out any more of my videos, just keep an update, keep an eye out for it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. For all online coaching inquiries and customized programs, check out my website, www.mikethurston.co.uk. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon, guys.